Welcome to the topic on market analysis. Specifically, we'll talk about how to conduct market overview and marketing audit. This is all a part of marketing planning. Here is a reminder of the overall process of marketing planning, and in this video, I'm specifically addressing step number 2, which I refer to as market analysis, and specifically, we will talk about market overview and marketing audit. Whilst in practice, many businesses tend to think of product ideas first, maybe because that's something they are passionate about or simply good at doing, it is ultimately the market, or in other words, the customers, who will determine the success of a business. For this reason, planning a product should start with a market overview. The idea is to find the right product for the customer, not the right customer for your product. It is paramount to understand your market well. So, what would the process of market overview involve? Breaking the market down into different market segments. This will be discussed in more detail later. Identifying and articulating the market needs, wants, and demands. Also will be discussed later in different videos. And finally, understanding customer value. We already discussed this in a different video, and we will address this more as well. Now, there are several things to be said about customer needs, wants, and demands, which is an important part of market overview. A need is basic necessity, for example, food. A want is a preference, giving choices. For example, I want not just food, but I want burger. Demands are backed up by ability to buy them. For example, burger from McDonald's is what I can afford. So, in general, in marketing, we're probably focusing more on customer needs and wants as two most commonly used concepts. When evaluating the customer needs and wants, there are some specific questions to ask. Let's consider mobile phone as an example. So you may want to ask, what is your customer need? To buy a new phone because of a partially damaged screen? What's the want? To get a leading smartphone like Apple or Samsung? Or maybe to help deal with the pain, which is a specific problem a customer is facing. For example, short battery life, which requires constantly charging, and maybe addiction to mobile phone, spending on average 3 to 4 hours a day on mobile apps. How do customers currently satisfy that need? For example, do they continue using the phone with damaged screen? You can ask additional questions if the company have already product in mind. For example, do the customers recognize the need for that product? Maybe they are not sure because they can still use the current phone. Is the solution you're offering different from the current products customers have? So it's just going really into the detail and understanding what customers value. Customer needs and wants may vary greatly between different cultures. For example, individualistic countries such as North America and Western Europe, where people are seen more independent and autonomous. And compare with collectivist cultures such as Asia, Central America, South America, and Africa, where relationships with other members of a group play a central role in each person's identity. Research suggests that how these cultural differences impact various aspects of behavior in terms of shopping and their relationship with brands is important consideration. And another thing you should really think about is something we refer to as articulated and unarticulated customer needs and wants. When evaluating the market, consideration should be given to both articulated and unarticulated needs. Unarticulated are defined as those that customers don't yet know they want or don't express openly. For example, think how many people were able to openly say they wanted iPhone or iPad. How many were able to say that they wanted an electric car? How many knew they wanted organic food? Whilst these are harder to identify, they're rewarding for a business to design, given that they're important to customers. Steve Jobs once said, you can't just ask customers what they want and try to give that to them. By the time you get it built, they will want something new. Right, and here we're looking more at the second part of market analysis, which is marketing audit. Marketing audit is a thorough examination of all marketing related issues and is an essential step in the process of marketing planning, because this will drive further decisions. Marketing audit has two perspectives: internal marketing audit, of the things we can control and external marketing audit of the things we can't control. So let's talk about internal marketing audit. Internal marketing audit is essentially examination of anything to do with marketing that is important to the company's capability to operate successfully, and the data would generally be available from within the company. Internal audit will include the following: analyzing operating results such as sales, revenue, turnover, market share, profit margins, cost, and all other financial indicators. Strategic issues, revising marketing objectives, market segmentation, targeting, competitive advantage, positioning. These all are a part of marketing strategy. Revising marketing mix or marketing program, which is most commonly related to 4Ps or 7Ps. Looking at marketing structures, revising marketing organizational structure, interdepartmental communication, training, and so forth. And finally, looking at marketing systems, information system, planning system, monitoring systems, technology used, and so forth. You don't need to remember them all, so long as you understand it is the audit of the internal stuff, like operating results, any strategic and marketing issues, marketing structures and systems, anything to do with marketing that is important to the company's capability to operate successfully, and something where you have more control of. Internal marketing audit, what would that involve? Well, this is essentially an examination of the environment that the company operates in. No single company operates in isolation, therefore it is important to take the wider marketing environment into account when conducting marketing audit. Marketing environment is defined as the actors and forces that affect a company's capability to operate in the market. Microenvironment will include actors close to the company that strongly affect its ability to serve customers, such as different publics, competitors, distributors, suppliers, and customers. While macroenvironments are the broad environmental forces that affect not only the company but also the other actors in the microenvironment. This includes pestle factors: political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legislative. If you wanted to look a little bit more into practice, you might think that analyzing the environment can bring about positives and negatives, right? Interestingly, what may be seen as negative factor for one company may be positive for another. For example, COVID-19 has greatly disturbed markets around the world and in general dragged economies down across the globe. While some organizations like universities experienced a great decrease in student numbers, or many other companies, or like restaurants and pubs, because people simply were not going out as much, and as a result had some serious financial difficulties, other companies like Zoom, a leader in modern enterprise video communications, which allows for online delivery of various classes, has thrived as its user base has grown exponentially. Microsoft experienced similar success with the Microsoft Teams product. In general, it is insufficient to simply describe the forces of external factors. The company in question also needs to consider the specific implications from them. For example, when analyzing UK's property market, it's not enough to identify Brexit as a force of political and economic force. It's important to identify exactly what will be the implications for the property market. How will property prices stay the same or go down? How quickly and to what degree they will go down, for example, or maybe up. And how will the number of buyers change? How will it affect the purchasing power? Equally, what will happen to the rental market, since there might be less people able or willing to move to live to the UK? Or maybe economy internally will become so strong that the prices will go up. These and many more questions will need to be asked. Marketing environment will probably be discussed in more detail in different videos. But that's something that companies are being affected by. When talking about market analysis, it's important to note a couple of things about market research. Well, conducting market research is becoming increasingly harder, and the implications are immense. Statistics associated with big data are truly mind-blowing. In this figure, you can see the volume of data information created, captured, copied, and consumed worldwide between 2010 and 20 with forecast to 2025, which clearly shows exponential growth of the data created. Big data is actually a term that refers to the kind of data sets that are too large and too complex for traditional data processing applications. It is defined as having one or some of the following characteristics: high volume, high velocity, or high variety. As well as the data created, the big data market size revenue is forecasted to grow rapidly, which speaks to the importance of big data. Now you may wonder, so what it has to do with marketing and what are the implications? Well, it has had an enormous impact on the way we approach research, as market research involving assessment of consumer behavior and measurement of the impact of marketing is fundamental to marketing planning. Not only it affects how we approach market research, but who, how, and when does it. This affects greatly the function of marketing department, which is evolving rapidly into one in which data, digital analysts play a key role, also suggesting that a different set of skills is needed to be a successful marketeer. It's not just the huge volumes of data that need processing, hence data analysis. It's also the ability to evaluate the relevance of the data and interpret it in a meaningful way as to reveal true insights about how customers are behaving. From that data, it's increasingly possible to predict with high levels of certainty the way consumers are likely to behave now and in the future. Since consumers are generally creatures of habit, the more detailed our understanding of how behavior is influenced by marketing activity, the more likely we are to produce successful marketing strategies. And finally, once you have marketing analysis completed, you use something called SWOT analysis to summarize the result of your analysis. This is a very popular tool and very often used in practice and academia. It's an overall evaluation of the company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. SWOT provides a simplistic and easy-to-use method of synthesizing the results of market overview and marketing audit. In terms of the users, SWOT analysis can be applied to an entire organization or brand or product or individual project or task. Most commonly, SWOT analysis is used at the organizational level to determine how closely a business is aligned with its growth trajectories and success benchmarks, but they can also be used to ascertain how well a particular product, such as credit card by a bank, is performing. It's important to distinguish between internal and external factors. So there are 4 elements: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. These are common to all SWOT analysis. However, many companies further compartmentalize these elements into 2 distinct groups, internal and external. Typically, strengths and weaknesses are considered internal factors in that they are a result of organizational decisions under the control of your company, whilst opportunities and threats are external factors as they are not under the control of the company. Strengths and weaknesses are internal and may seem as somewhat easier to identify. However, opportunities and threats are external and may be harder to spot. There are also 2 perspectives in applying SWOT analysis. One perspective is customer perspective, another perspective is competitor perspective. It is important to remember that only those resources or capabilities valued by the customer should be included into SWOT. For example, if your customers do not value that you have one of the tallest hotels in the world, this probably should not be included as a strength. Also, if a business wants to appeal to the today's generation, they will have to embed issues around sustainability, ethics, and morals in its core, the phenomena that has never been valued more by any other precedent generations. Also, the judgment of items in SWOT will be competitor dependent. For example, if you want to claim having low fares or lowest fares, then you should be able to be seen in the market as such in relation to your competitors to use it as a strength. When we talk about SWOT analysis, sometimes in the conversations we will hear other words such as Pestel or Porter's 5 forces. There is often a confusion between the uses of SWOT, Pestel, and Porter's 5 forces. Whilst Pestel and Porter's 5 forces can be seen as alternative tools to SWOT analysis, Pestel and Porter's 5 forces should actually be used to support your SWOT analysis. Specifically, Pestel and Porter's 5 forces are useful tools to assist in analyzing opportunities and threats as they are considered to be factors that are external. Pestle analysis can be used as a tool for analyzing external business environment and will include the following 6 forces: political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legislative. In addition, Porter's 5 forces framework can be used to analyze competitive forces, which will include the following 5 forces: rivalry among existing competitors, bargaining power of buyers, threat of new entrants, bargaining power of suppliers, threat of substitutes of products and services. Thank you for watching.